King Charles II, the Black King of the British Isles. Charles II was, in the popular language of the day, a tall black man. A whitewashed illustration of King Charles. Statues of King Charles with the nose broken off. Hotels and pubs named the Black Boy in honor of King Charles. All of which have black children being represented. King Charles was nicknamed the Black Boy by his mother because of his very dark complexion. Prince James of Wales, the nephew of King Charles. The Avignonese chronicler describes James as of light brown complexion. A whitewashed illustration of Prince James of Wales.
First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is who this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushai is who this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'ashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. I also want to give double honors to the outer bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. In today's video, I wanted to go into how the truth is finally coming out about what was really going on in the so-called Middle Ages. The truth is coming out about how the Hebrew Israelites, were ruling that time period. We're ruling all of Europe for 1,000 years. So, as you can see in this video, right, King Charles II, if you search that up in Google today, what you'll get is a picture of a pale-looking Edomite. Look at this, man. That's what you get a picture of. But in actuality, he was dark-skinned, right? And ultimately, this is Esau Edom, the so-called white man, hiding history, because as it says in the scriptures, let's get it in Job chapter 9 and verse 24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Right? So the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Right? The wicked are the Edomites, so-called white people. Okay? It says that from the womb, the wicked are estranged. Let's pull that. So, estranged. This is Psalms chapter 58 and verse 3. It says, "The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies." Right? And there is a bloodline, there is a lineage of people on the earth that are referred to as the wicked. And those people are so-called white people. And before they were called white, they were called Europeans. Before they were called Europeans, they were called Romans. Before they were called Romans, they were called Greeks. Before they were called Greeks, they were called Edomites. And they are the wicked of the earth. So right now, starting from the Greeks, they were ruling Salakia. Starting from the Greeks, that's when the wicked came into authority. They ruled the Greek Empire. They ruled in the Roman Empire. Then the Roman Empire fell for a little bit. And they're at the bottom of society for 1,000 years. Right? That's actually prophesied in Revelation, the 20th chapter. But before I go there, what I wanted to bring out was that right now they are ruling, right? And part of them ruling is deceiving, Part of the deception was hiding who the Hebrew Israelites are, right? It says they covered the faces of the judges, right? Who are the judges? The rulers, the saints, the Israelites, And they covered that identity, right? Because King Charles II, he was an Israelite, right? So-called black boy, probably going back to the tribe of Judah, right? And what they do, they covered his face. They made him look all pale, right? All white. But in actuality, as we just saw in that video, that's not true at all. And as it says in the scriptures that says that at the end, right, that covering cast spread upon all nations was going to be ultimately lifted up. Right? Isaiah chapter 25 and verse 7, it says, "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations." Right? In mountains, in the scriptures are referred to as empires. They're symbolic for empires, kingdoms, big kingdoms. Is going into how he will destroy this mountain and this empire, the face of the covering cast over all people. Right? So going into how the people right now, they have pretty much a blanket over their faces. They're being deceived, okay, by all the lies that have been propagated. Okay, and Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, through his men, the 144,000, we are destroying that covering cast. Okay, by making videos such as this one and going into the scriptures, going into the prophecies. It says, and the veil that is spread over all nations. Right? All nations are realizing that, hey, these Edomites, they ain't nothing but wicked. Right? Everything they do is the wrong way. Okay, they're not trying to find peace because the blessing that was given to Esau was to rule by the sword. Right? To kill, conquer. That's all he knows how to do is live by the sword. So all nations are realizing that. Right? As you go into it, and I'm all over the place, but I'm just going through the spirit. When you go into Jeremiah the 50th chapter, okay, and Jeremiah chapter 51, talking about Babylon, which Babylon is talking about America. In verse 7 it says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right? When it's talking about wine here, it's talking about philosophies. Right? The American philosophy, America has pushed that throughout the entire earth. Right? It's called a westernization, feminism, okay? And that philosophy, that wine, the nations have drunk of it. Right? You go to China, and now all of a sudden you got McDonald's on every single corner. Right? That's that wine, okay? And primarily the philosophy, okay? And the philosophy going into wickedness. Right? America's philosophy is do whatever you want to do. Okay, you want to be a homosexual, go ahead and do it. You want to be a prostitute, go ahead and do it. Okay, and these nations inadvertently have drunken of that wine, and they're mad because of it, right? Because they realize that that type of way of thinking is not fruitful at all, right? They're realizing over there in the East, all these nations, right, the Saudi Arabians that have the Eastern mindset, they're realizing that as soon as their daughters, right, start hearing this American mindset, that wine, they start becoming dots. They start becoming sexy red clones, okay? Cardi B clones, Megan Thee Stallion clones. Same thing with their boys. As soon as they start listening to what's over here in the West, their boys all of a sudden want to paint their nails, right? They want to put on dresses. They want to be homosexuals, right? So that's why the nations are mad, okay? And then when we go back to what we were reading in Isaiah chapter 25 verse 7, right? That veil that was spread over all nations is being destroyed. They're seeing America for what they're really doing. And eventually, as it says in Revelation, the 17th chapter, it says that all nations, right, even those 10 horns going into NATO and EU, are going to destroy America. Right? So eventually, everybody, okay, the European Union that is at peace right now with America, every single one of them is going to turn on America. Everyone is going to turn on America. But I went on a little tangent there. Let's deal with what we were looking at. Right, how for 1,000 years, right, you had so-called dark people, so-called black people, which were the Hebrew Israelites, conquering all of Europe. Okay, and during that time, let's read the prophecy. Right, it was prophesied. So this is Revelation chapter 20 verse 1. It says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having a key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years." Right? And when it's talking about that dragon, right, this is going into, everything here is going into the Edomites. Right? That dragon, when you go to the scriptures and it's talking about that red dragon that was persecuting that man-child, that was going into Herod the Great, okay, persecuting Yahushai. Right? The reason it said it was a red dragon is because Edom means red. Right? So-called white people are actually red. So in totality, it's talking about the Edomites. When it says that old serpent going back into the garden with Adam and Eve, okay, that same wicked spirit that was on that serpent, which the serpent was symbolic for a man with serpentine features, okay, it came upon the Edomites. It says which is the devil, right? That word devil goes into, in the Greek, diabolos, which means, all it means is prone to slander, slanderous, accusing falsely, a calumniator, a false accuser, a slanderer, right? So somebody that slanders, that's what a devil is. It says metaphorically applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of God, may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. Okay, that's exactly what the Edomites are. Okay, they are the physical incarnation of Satan. Okay, they are the wicked of the earth, which are ruling right now. But that's what it's talking about when you say devil, Satan, right? Same thing. You go into that word. This Greek is satanas, and you look at the second definition. First definition, adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act. The name given to goes these, but the point we want is here: a Satan-like man. And that's what the Edomites are. Okay, satanic. Look at the society we're in right now, Babylon the Great. Who's ruling it? Hey, look at the dollar, right? Dollar bill. Who's on the face of the dollar? Pale, red, Edomite. That's who's ruling right now. That's who's ruling right now. Okay, that's why the dollar is the hegemony of the entire earth. Okay, because the Edomites are ruling. Okay, that's why all these so-called Jewish people, which they go back to Edom. Okay, they're imposters. They're not actually Israelites. That's why they own all the social media accounts. That's why they own the biggest banks. That's why they own everything, because they are in power. Right now is their time to rule. But going into all that history, it says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Right? So these Edomites, so-called white people, were bound 1,000 years and cast him into the bottomless pit, which is talking about Europe, and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more. Right? So they had a spiritual seal upon them that for those 1,000 years, no matter what they tried to do, they're not going to come into power. They're at the bottom. Okay, and the key point is that the reason this happened is so that they would not deceive the nations no more, right? Because the Edomites, okay, what they do is deceive. They lie. Okay, they steal, they rob. It says, but this seal was upon them until the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Right, that's exactly what happened. Right, for 1,000 years, let me show you the state of the Edomites. Okay, you search up a picture, the wild men and the Moors, in circa 1440, and this is the picture that you get. You have Edomites on the left, in the bottomless pit, with the seal upon them, okay, just being base, vile men, sticks and stones. They were the original cavemen. Okay, and what they did to hide that history is now in schools, they say, no, we were all cavemen. Okay, hiding the fact that they were the only ones. So sticks and stones, and they were attacking a kingdom, an empire of so-called black people, which these are those Israelites. Okay, those are those Israelites. Okay, and this was during that time period where they were bound for 1,000 years. Okay, they couldn't get into power. But what happened? Okay, let's actually search up how long were the Dark Ages, just to prove the point. From the 5th to 14th century, or about 900 years. 500 to 1000 CE, 500 to 1500 AD. So 1,000 years. How long were the Middle Ages? Right, it's talking about the same time period. Roughly 1,000 years. And that was that prophecy being fulfilled. So ultimately what happened is those 1,000 years were fulfilled, and they came back into power. Right? When they came back to the power, okay, it's called the Renaissance time period, from the 14th to the 17th century. Right? Why is it the 14th century? Because that's when they came back into power. Right? That's when that seal was loosed. Okay? So everything goes together. Renaissance, why is it called the Renaissance? Renaissance in Latin goes into renacimiento, which means the rebirth. The rebirth of who? The Edomites. Okay, and what they did during this time period is they committed iconoclasm. Right, and that word iconoclasm goes into the action of attacking or assertively rejecting cherished beliefs and institutions or established values and practices. The rejection or destruction of religious images as heretical. The doctrine of iconoclasm. So iconoclasm is pretty much destroying religious images. Okay, that's exactly what the Edomites did. Okay, in the Renaissance, they whitewashed all the pictures of that period. Okay, of that civilization. Okay, of that area, they whitewashed all of them. Okay, and this is proof of that. They did that with who the world calls Jesus, right? He's a so-called black-looking man, dark skin, and now they paint him out to look like Cesare Borgia, right? They paint him out to look all white, all pale, when in actuality he's dark skinned. So that's part of the iconoclasm. That's part of, as we were reading, him covering the faces of the judges. But ultimately, the truth is coming out of what was really going on. Right? And you can actually search up a Peter picture. They'll show you pictures of Peter, right, in a church. Dark skin. You gotta search up dark skin, or else they're gonna give you this whitewashed figure. Saint Peter. Let's see if I can find it. Peter, dark skin, apostle. Nope, none of these are the ones. Let me see if I can find it on DuckDuckGo. Just because Google actually, they don't like promoting that type of information. Peter, apostle, dark skin. Right, these are the pictures right here. Okay, you look at them. That's actually not the one I want. There's actually one where he's painted very clearly, and they have it in the church nowadays. And it's funny because in that church, they have that side of the church completely dark. Right, they have no light in it. But I can't find it. One thing I do want to go into is they showed that they broke the noses of King Charles, or the statues. And the reason is because it would show his Negroid complexion. Okay, Negroes have that type of nose where you can just tell that he's dark skinned. And they actually did this within, I think it's Spain or Portugal or Italy, one of those places. It was called the Four Saints. No, the Four Patriarchs. And they did the same thing, right? This is in no, not the Four Patriarchs. Statue of the Four Tetrarchs over there in Venice, Italy. And you can see the same thing, right? So-called looking Negroes. Right? And you open up that image, you can see that the same way they knocked off the noses in King Charles is the same way they did it here, right? To hide the identity. But you can see the beard on the man. They just knocked off all the noses. Right? That's part of that Renaissance, hiding the history. Okay, and like I said, there's nothing they can do to stop the truth. As the scriptures say, you can't do nothing against the truth, but only for the truth. And the truth of who these people really are is coming out at the end. And they was actually prophesied. Okay, that scripture was in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. No, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And verse 3, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." Okay, and that person that acts like the Most High, those are the Edomites. That is that man of sin being revealed. Okay, and this prophecy is actually being fulfilled right now by me making this video. Right, and then it says in verse 8, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." Right, and the wicked, okay, this is talking about Yahushua's second coming. Right, so it's saying that when Yahushua comes back, okay, he's going to knock out the wicked. Okay, when Yahushua comes back, those in power are going to be the wicked. And who's ruling right now? The Edomites. Okay, here in Babylon the Great, America. Okay, but it says that this wicked, even him who's coming, is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Right, so they do the work of Satan. They are the physical counterpart. So, the prophecy is being fulfilled. That man of sin is being revealed. And through these pictures, okay, through these receipts, there's nothing they can do to stop it. Right, the proof is in the pudding. So, I just wanted to touch on that real quick, make a video, because the more videos we push out like this, the faster the truth is going to spread. So hopefully this is edifying. With that, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakak Udash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. And now something that actually came into my mind was one more thing we have, one more receipt, was a letter written by Benjamin Franklin going into in 15. Benjamin Franklin going into how in that time period all the people of the East were considered swarthy. Right? And you actually have to sign up now. This is a lot of bullshit. You didn't have to sign up in the past. But let's go on images and see if we can find it. Right here. In that letter, this is what he just wrote. In 1751, the American polymath Benjamin Franklin worried about the small number of purely white people in the world. All Africa, he wrote, is black or tawny. Right? And tawny goes into light skin. He says Asia, chiefly tawny, and this is in the point. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. Now, if you search up swarthy, okay, swarthy means dark-skinned. Dark-skinned. So, the Spaniards, the original Europeans, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes, Germans, they were all dark-skinned, okay, because those were the original people, right? Were the Israelites ruling for 1,000 years in that time period. And what happened is that after those 1,000 years in the Renaissance, Esau, okay, took on those names. Esau took up the names of German and Russian and Swedes and Spanish and Italians, and he pushed that image that he was those people since the beginning. Right? That's what he did with the Greeks, right? He took over the Greek heritage of the people of Japhet, right? Which the Japhites today are the so-called Hawaiians, right? The original Greeks were the people of Japhet, and they were dark-skinned with tattoos all over them, right? They were called the Picts. They were called the Etruscans, okay? The history is there. And ultimately, same thing with the Vikings. The original Vikings were dark-skinned, but Esau came into the picture, and now he paints the Vikings in all these movies with having braids and being white-skinned and with big beards. It was all of that. It was all that history they put in the movies, but they were all dark-skinned. So I'll leave it at that. Hopefully this is edifying. Shalom to you, like shalom.